Welcome to the Everyday Bow Hunter. I'm your host, Mike Manley, retired Green Beret turned bow hunter, joined by my brother Dan Zeman. We're here to share tips, stories, and talk gear, all from our unique points of view. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned bow hunter, I think you're going to like it. So let's go. All right, everyone, this is episode 15. Mike and Dan, we're back after a little hiatus over the holidays here. Took a little break, and now we're back, and happy to be back. And I think we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. A little bit too long of a break.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna be back on track. Don't worry. We're not gone. We're not dead. We're still doing podcasts. We just had a little bit of a break. Sometimes life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of website work too.
So I'd like to start this episode off with a little personal note. You guys have heard us talk about our friend Jevin that hunts with us religiously. His mom passed away yesterday. I would love to send out some love and respect. Jevin, we're definitely thinking about you and your family, buddy. Yeah, it's got me choked up.
Hey, we're thinking about you, man, and we wish you the best. We know it's a hard time.
Always thinking about you, buddy.
Yeah. So, I know Dan.
Sorry.
You guys
It was a good woman, very good woman.
So, yeah, it's hard to put that stuff into words, but we're thinking about you, man. So anyway, I hate to. It's almost like hard to move on at that point. Something like that. But so anyway, since the last time we talked, I've had a lot of different stuff going on.
Yeah.
It was pre-Christmas, our last podcast, and you said you were looking for certain things at Christmas. Did Santa bring you what you wanted, or you still looking for some items?
I'm still looking, unfortunately, but no. I've moved into my off-season obsession, where every day I sit there and analyze critically every aspect of my season prior, where I'm in that time where my brain's going 6,000 miles an hour, and do I change broadheads? Do I change arrows? Do I change this? Do I change that? So I think I've kind of narrowed it down.
It's fun to tinker.
And that's what it is too. It's like the joy of the tinkering.
Yeah.
So I've narrowed it down. I have a sight on my bow that I haven't been exactly happy with. And this year, for the first year, I want to go to the single pin. I wasn't sure about it for a magnitude of reasons. And my reasoning why prior was I wanted at least 3 pins. I didn't want to have to move anything. Mm-hmm. So when it came, it was do, or do. You know what I mean? So I've come to the conclusion that single pin is so much more versatile than do, or do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where I do have options in the long game then. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily for Pennsylvania whitetail, but for 3D shoots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it kind of takes a lot out of my window then, and it simplifies things. And that's where I would like to go with that.
So that was the biggest thing for me, and why I've shot single pin for years. Right. I wanted to have that window open so I can scan it and I can see everything. But also, some of the newer single pin sites, you have the ability, they have the dots, the different colored dots built into the single pin.
Right.
You can adjust, and then you just, level your bow out. But I personally have a system, and you know about this. I have a system where I zero my bow at 20 yards.
Yes.
And then I shoot at 30, I shoot at 10, and I get myself a bracket, understanding how much I have to aim differently at those different yardages, and I never have to touch anything during the hunt. So if I'm within 30 yards, which I normally is what I kind of stand by for my shots.
Right.
If it's over 30 and I have the opportunity, you do have the ability to adjust it on a single pin sight because you have the yardages built into the sight.
Right.
You can make that. You don't always have that time. So that's why I like the flexibility of having just that single pin, just like you're shooting a gun.
Yeah.
And then you can just put it up center mass most of the time. If your arrow's flying pretty good, flat, fairly flat at that distance,
yeah,
you don't have to make much of an adjustment. I had, I think 4 inches at 30 yards drop, and I had a 2-inch elevation at 10 yards.
Okay.
So you can see how you could easily aim center mass on that for most part. Just aim a little bit high center on your 30-yard shot.
Right.
And I mean, that's a small amount of just 6 inches is nothing.
Nothing. Right. Right.
So when you have a bracket like that and you're confident in that and you practice that, I think there's nothing easier when a deer comes up instead of pulling a rangefinder out and trying to
Yeah.
figure out a range.
Yeah.
You pull a rangefinder out before the deer comes up and
Yeah.
mark spots and say, okay, that's 30 yards, that's 25, this is 15, whatever,
Yeah.
And then you understand that when the deer comes in, and even just have a general idea of the yardage to them, because when it gets down to like 5 yards, does it really make that big of a difference? Only when you're getting out at distance it does.
That's where with the single pin, that's where it's critical,
Yeah.
But CBE makes this hybrid also, which kind of intrigued me, but I still kind of walked away from that. I mean, I was almost sold on it. So it's a 3-pin sight, and your third pin then turns into your adjustment, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, like all the way out.
Yeah.
That intrigued me, but I kind of kept coming back to, even with 3D shooting, I'm probably not going to be shooting anything over 50. In a 3D, like a 3D shooting
Yeah.
club.
The only time you're going to do that is like at the Total Archery Challenge or something like that.
Now, live in the woods, I would never take a shot. Now 40, I might do it, but it has to be some great circumstances, and that's very rare.
Yeah, and in my 30-yard window kind of thing for me is I have kind of a tracking problem from some stuff that happened to me in the Army. So because of that, my eyes don't track that well. So when I get out to that distance, things start getting a little choppy for me. So it's better for me to stay within that 30 yards, so I'm confident I'm making a good shot.
Yeah.
And the ethical kill.
And then here we go back to the ethical thing, and that's what it is. It's about making the right shot. At 40 yards, I feel like with a whitetail deer, a lot can happen in that 40 yards.
Yeah.
Deer do jump arrows. They're so instinctive, where they drop down. There's a lot that can happen in 40 yards where if you're keeping it in the 20 and 30 range, you're kind of gearing yourself up for more success.
I was actually talking to a guy at work, and he was saying he was hunting this same, he's a big saddle hunter and does a lot of mobile hunting, but he also hunts some private land, and he was after this really big buck. And he said the buck came in at 40 yards, give or take.
Yeah.
Right? And said he ranged it, took the shot, and he said he aimed center mass, right behind the shoulder instead of aiming a little low.
Yeah.
Because the deer's going to drop.
Yep.
Right. And at that distance, when a deer's farther out like that, the farther they are away, the more you have a chance of them to drop before that arrow gets there. That it only takes a split second for them to drop on you.
You'd be surprised how much noise your arrow is making flying to them.
Yeah. So I mean, just that little.
You've heard it firsthand with me shooting, and you were out on the back porch, and I was shooting them from there, and you heard that arrow go fly. You came around that corner pretty damn surprised of
like,
how
wow.
noisy that was. Yeah.
For the right conditions, or the wrong conditions, I should say.
Yeah.
Your arrow can make a bunch of noise. It's not. You can have the perfect setup, and it's still gonna, with aerodynamics, you have that. Especially with different kind of winds and stuff.
I mean, the more you shoot, the more confident you get. But the problem with confidence is you're so confident that you start making stupid decisions, and I don't want to say that taking a 40-yard shot is a stupid decision. It's up to the hunter. It's up to,
It's really up to the equipment you have too. If you have the confidence in it, then
capabilities,
you can take a shot.
correct. Yeah.
If you
I
have
agree.
confidence, then you
I
can take a
agree.
shot.
Yeah.
So, but that's why, if a deer is past 20 yards for me, I'm always, my aiming point that I have set, I'm always going to do a little bit lower because of that drop.
Right.
I'm anticipating that they are going to drop at least a little bit, and very rarely do you have any animal just sit there and take it unless they're in a field, they're feeding, and they're not paying attention to nothing, and you got to jump on them.
Yeah.
And you got good wind cover, to cover the sound of the arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that come into play.
All right. So, staying on the same subject of the off-season obsession. So I went down the rabbit hole of broadheads. And had a guy respond about mechanicals, and I think they're called severs.
Sever, yeah.
Yeah. You know,
SEVR.
SEVR, and you know, I appreciate that comment, and I looked at them, and for mechanicals, they're damn nice broadheads. I'm not gonna lie. I still personally, it's a personal decision. I think this season I'm gonna stick with what I have.
Magnus.
The Magnus Black Hornet Sir Razor. They fly so good out of my bow, and that's a level of confidence. Nothing. Yeah, I hit that deer, but that was shot placement. I hit high in no man's land. That was me. That was not the broadhead. If you would have saw the amount of blood, you would have been damn happy with those broadheads. You know, and I think I need to give it another year. And who knows, they could be my broadhead for a long time. I can't overthink this. I need to keep it simple. What's the saying? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
I overthink everything, and I overanalyze everything, and I personally, this is one area that I'm going to keep the same. Yeah, and
Yeah. And I'm a big believer. We talked about this in numerous podcasts, but not every, if you're new, well, we're big believers in the fixed blade broadheads, and that while there's a lot of mechanicals that can tear it up and do a great job and have done a great job over the years.
For years, the Rage, yeah.
It's there's some people out there that call it a plan B,
Yeah.
a plan B arrow or broadhead, because you're taking all the variables out of the equation of the failure of the mechanical, even those ones that are really good about not failing.
Yeah.
Taking it out, you hit a twig that you didn't see on the way to the target, you're trying to shoot through some tall grass or whatever. A fixed blade's going to punch through, whereas a mechanical might deploy early on you and,
Right.
and stuff. So all those things that we talk about.
We went with a heavier setup, and with a heavier setup, I think it's geared more towards a fixed broadhead.
Yes.
And, so
You want with a heavy setup, you want a fixed blade.
Right,
You do.
right.
And you want a higher FOC.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I have a high FOC, I have a heavy setup, and that's why I just want to stick with what I have. I have built confidence in that broadhead, in these arrows. The only downfall of these arrows is method archery. Get your stuff together, man. Whatever your problem is, get it together. You make incredible arrows. Open up shop, settle your dispute, whatever is going on. Please get back to making arrows, because I've never shot better than I have with your arrows. Please get whatever it is. Please, from an archer to an archer, get it together.
Yes, I mean those arrows are awesome.
Yeah,
they definitely fly incredible. I have not had one issue with those arrows, and they just fly perfect.
dude, I'm obsessed with them, and knowing that I have to switch arrows again and go somewhere else, it breaks my heart. And hey, I get it. Stuff happens, life happens, whatever. But I pray that you guys get whatever resolved and get back open. Make some arrows.
We had
You do a hell of a job.
what the heck are they? Not the HMRs. What
ZMRs.
ZMRs?
Yeah.
The ZMRs, 4-fletched with a 3-degree right helical on them.
Yep.
Oh my God, they're flying so good.
Yeah.
So that so one thing, not to fast forward, because I want to talk about some stuff back before this podcast, but on the same note, Sirius Archery
I looked into that.
they are like all the big boys freaking hang with Sirius, and not all, but a lot of big boys go there, and they're
Just have to know your math. Where method archery figures it out for you.
Sirius is
You have to have it figured out, and you got to give them with your effort to get your FOC. You have to know your own math. And
now if you email them customer support, they'll put it together for you.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
They'll put it together for you. I've had some emails back and forth with those guys, and they are really willing to help.
Well,
Very quick response too.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Very. And once again, we're not sponsored by them. We just looking for great options for the stuff. And these arrows are expensive. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they are.
You want good arrows,
but you get what you pay for.
Yes, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And
that's with a lot of different.
And I'm still on my all season obsession about when I go to the sportsman show here coming up, the outdoor show, Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg coming up, the weekend of February 4th, 3rd or 4th, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be going that weekend, and I'm going to try to go to Sirius Archery. Their stand's going to be there. And
Oh, good.
I'm gonna
That'll
try.
be a great opportunity.
Yeah, and then
to-
Wednesday we're gonna go back out there again.
Yeah, because
So if you're going to the outdoor show, you want to see me, you're gonna have to find me because I'll be all over the place. And Dan and I'll be there Wednesday night. So if you want to see us that first Wednesday, you're gonna have to find us because we'll be all over the place.
yeah.
But mostly in the archery hall and stuff.
And I actually said a joke earlier today. I said I'm gonna wait till we're in a crowd of people and go, "Oh my gosh, you're the everyday bow hunter? Can I have your autograph? Can I get a selfie with you?"
And if he does that, he'll be choked out and unconscious to where he's gonna have to be evac'd out of there. And I'll just run to the bathroom real quick. But anyway, I bet you security's always high there because of because all the guns and everything they have in there.
Yeah.
And now that President Trump's going to be there on Friday,
Oh, I didn't know that.
the 9th, he's
Okay.
going to be there at the Great American Outdoor Show at the Farm Show Complex in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And which means I'm not going to be anywhere near there that night because I'd be nutsified.
Nutsified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nutsified. So anyway, back to pedaling back a little bit. Now I went up, going out for late season hunting. There's nothing I want to do more, but as you probably all know, here in the U.S. the weather has not been
Cooperative.
fantastic, and I had like 50 some mile an hour winds and snow, and it just just family stuff got in the way the one weekend, and 2 weekends in a row I wanted to go hunting the last 2 weekends of archery, and I couldn't. In fact, the only day I could get out because of family stuff was Sunday,
The day after.
the day before the end of the season.
Oh,
which,
day before,
Martin
right.
Luther King Jr. Day in Pennsylvania was the last day of the archery season, late archery season.
Right.
And I went out on that Sunday, and I went. My plan was to scout a little bit, and to put some cameras out that I had one destroyed by a bear, and I was going to replace that. And then my other camera, I wanted to adjust it because the way deer kept coming into the area, I was constantly seeing the tops of their backs and not seeing what they're doing kind of behind the camera. So I put the camera on a opposing tree, and it's got a really good view now. So I'm really getting to see in the snow and stuff on there. What's crazy, and this is a testament, once again, not sponsored, Exodus Cameras. I got the rival camera from them last year at the Sportsman Show, and they have an upgrade this year, which I might buy one.
Okay.
But that camera's been operating in the freezing cold and the snow and everything.
Yeah.
I do.
And it's been
on my phone.
very
They have
cold.
a Scout Tech app. I'll send a take photo message during like the worst weather, and I was getting pictures back, and it just working. The camera's still working. I've had the same lithium batteries in there for quite a long time now.
Yesterday morning, I think with the wind chill, it was -5.
Yeah.
-5. That wind was howling. Snow was drifting everywhere. We got on the backside of the hill to go out to Cape Horn there, and we're heading down through there, and the road was atrocious. That whole backside drifted closed. There was cars everywhere, and we got up over a hill and like, it was bad.
Well, like up where I was at, the mountain I was at, the leeward side was south facing slope, right, where the sun's hitting majority of the day. No snow, very clear. Went out, saw a lot of deer sign that really, a couple places that surprised me. But I tried to go. I went to the top of the mountain in one place, and there's tons of snow on the backside of the mountain. And I walked, and I saw all kinds of deer tracks, and has clued me into some places. I actually tried to put one of my cameras there, my cell cameras, and at the top of the mountain, could not connect. I could not believe it.
It's crazy.
Perfect coverage of my phone, but I don't know why I couldn't connect with the camera. So I went to a different spot, and it connected perfectly. It's just the weirdness of cell stuff.
Cell stuff, yeah.
But anyway, I went down through. I wanted to go back to where the bear destroyed my camera, but that road was down the backside of the mountain was a sheet of ice. There was no way I could get down there, and I wasn't going to do it by myself.
Yeah, smart. Yeah.
I was going to do it by myself and end up not being able to get back out of there.
Like my wife always says, make good life choices, Dan.
Yeah, but there's a really, it's not, in the big scheme of things, it's not remote, but it's a place where you might see a hunter or two the whole season.
Yeah.
And I want to invest more time in that area because of all the deer sign that I've been seeing out there. And the last time I hunted out there, I went out to check the area. The end of archery season, there were monster rubs, fresh rubs, in the middle of November or almost the end of November, and I was like, this area, they didn't they didn't get the deer out here in rifle, so I'm confident that there's a bunch of big deer out there still that need some arrow love.
Need to die.
They definitely need some arrow love. I got for Christmas, my wife got me some storage stuff, for my for the rack on the back of my vehicle and stuff for that. So I got some portable stuff. I want to do kind of some stuff where we're out away like that and don't have to travel the whole way back to camp. Just kind of set up, make some coffee, kill some time, have some lunch, and then go back out and not have to drive back to camp. So I'm kind of getting myself prepared for that. And our mom actually bought us
Coolers
coolers
for Christmas.
these nice little travel coolers. So
Put beer in.
beer, what adult beverages?
Well, so that would bring me to, we have a mutual off-season obsession that kind of started. There's a spot way out, and we want to attack this area. And talking to a friend up at camp, we got some good information on rules and regulations. Thank you, Ronnie. Apparently in Pennsylvania, in the state forest, you have to stay with an e-bike under 750 watt. So we've both been kind of researching the e-bike and going down that avenue, and I've become obsessed with it. And I'm pretty near ready to pull the trigger. And the Sportsman Show might be a great opportunity to do that and get a good deal. But yes, so off-season obsession number 4, 5, the e-bike. And what it will do is it'll expedite some hunts where it would take an hour, maybe more, to hike in. Now you're either getting up an hour earlier or more, or this or that. So it's to try to make it easier to get to the hunting location.
Yeah. There's so many places we could hunt. And
Yeah.
the only challenge that you have then after that is that you're going to have to back out to get some kind of transportation to get a deer out when you do get a deer. That's the only negative side of it. But that's a bridge I'm willing to cross.
Well, they have like carts that you can attach to the back and or a sled. Now the sled, that kind of distance, you're going to wear a hole in the bottom of the sled, which is okay because what's the sled? $20, you know what I mean? But and the noise element that comes along with the sled and dragging that. But there are cart options, and I think we could figure that one out, But I just think it's a cool avenue. It's a tool. It's another tool in archery hunting that I want to be able to get way out there where not the average hunter goes, and I want to get out there faster than the average hunter, So it's in public hunting, public land hunting. It's you're either beating the clock or beating the other hunter.
Yes.
And to the spot. So you have to be smarter than the land that you're hunting,
And that's kind of what I was talking about with the spot that I was trying to scout on that backside of the mountain.
Right. Yeah.
Is it goes into a valley that's very hard to get to. The roads are, you can't even call them roads. They're dirt trails that you drive back on, and it's very difficult stuff. But you have to go sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you have to go where other hunters are not willing to go if you want to have an area to yourself.
And generally,
public land hunting,
the hunting pressure is not as great out there, so normally that's where the bigger deer are going to be.
I hunted out there. We hunted out there once or twice, and not a ton, but I never saw another hunter out that way.
Right. Saw a lot of bugs.
Oh my God.
That was disgusting.
So that's one thing. That's one thing we're hoping for, and hope everybody else is hoping for. We had this freeze here, and they say it takes at least 5 days of consistent below freezing temperatures to kill off ticks and bugs. And you're not going to get rid of all of them, obviously, but it takes that population down, and maybe this next year won't be. We had bugs into November this year, which I've never seen.
And we've had 4, and then now 6. So now we have, almost, in places, 10 inches of snow on the ground. keeping that freeze, on the ground. Hopefully this helps get,
Yeah.
knock some of this down, because this year was the worst I've ever experienced
Yeah.
with bugs. It
Terrible.
was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see in turkey season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Spring gobbler will
Yeah.
be the tell,
So moving on to off-season obsessions, mine is back to the arrows.
Yeah.
Is I want to do some arrow building. I saw an arrow saw that I'm interested in getting, but I want to go here to the Sportsman Show, the outdoor show, and see what's there. If I can get a deal on something there, as far as a kit or something like that.
Right.
I'm not going all out to be a professional arrow builder or anything. I just want to be able to do my own set of arrows, because I'm really into refining the weight of my arrow.
Yeah.
And there's different applications for your weight. There's weight where you have a little bit more speed, like the ZMR arrows,
Right.
a little bit more speed, and then you have a little bit heavier weight. But there's a balancing act. And the one thing that I hate to hear, and I think I said this on 100 podcasts now, but I hate to hear when people say, "Oh, you need an arrow that's over 600 grains," or you need they give a number.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. Every single person's optimal arrow weight is different.
There's actually, like, I don't want to say an algorithm, an equation that for what you're going for with 125 grain, 150 grain, 100 grain. There's an equation that once you figure out your equation for those, let's say 100 grain, 125 grain, then you can move forward with your build.
And I'm actually building out a blog post on how to build out an arrow based on the weight structure, what you would need for each component. Because you have to go by the grains per inch of the arrow, how long your arrow is going to be for you.
Mm-hmm.
So all arrow weight is based on basically four things: the speed of the bow.
Yeah.
I mean, just the factory speed on it, your draw length, your draw weight, and whatever you have hanging on that string as far as extra weight. Yeah. And you factor all those in, and you can figure out the optimal weight for you based on what your speed's going to be at different weights, what your kinetic energy is going to be, and what your momentum's going to be,
and what FOC you want to be at.
Yes,
like
you
15%,
find that middle ground of what your arrow is, and if you push heavy, you want more FOC. And the problem is, the heavier you go with an arrow, the harder it is to get a higher FOC,
right?
Because of the weights built into the arrow itself.
Yes,
and getting that heavier weight on the front, because the answer isn't always throw a 200 grain broadhead on.
Yeah.
So there's a balancing act. But anyway, I'll get into that later. I did put a post up on the site, not to advertise the website too much, but at archeryhunting.com, I have a blog post now that is, what is the best hunting arrow weight, and in parentheses, for you, because it shows you how to figure it out specifically for you.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I want to do. I want to make sure I want to build out my own arrows. And of course, I'd go to Sirius, for instance, and I'd get the shafts and stuff, right? And then I'd build it from there.
Yeah.
With my inserts and my broadhead, etc.
Right.
Maybe even the fletching. So we'll see how it happens. But I'm going to go see what my options are.
Well, I've been oh man, unfortunately, the names literally just slipped my mind. What is it? Victory arrows. They make saw some really good reviews on it. Chris B was talking about them. What is that guy's name? Podium Archer.
Yeah.
They were talking about these arrows, and it was kind of like almost thinking about going this same route where it's your hands are the ones on them. Mm-hmm. You're putting your inserts, whatever you want to call them, to get your 75 grain,
insert or whatever,
all that, and doing it. So if there's a mess up, it's you, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. Mm-hmm. One of them deals, and it has intrigued me.
That's why I'm gonna have a bunch of old crappy carbon arrows over there that I'm gonna put together stuff on, and then go from there. Get a arrow saw, a square, to square it off, to make sure that everything's lined up straight.
Right.
And go from there. But anyway, we already beat arrows to death in this.
Yeah.
So I ended up reviewing and not reviewing, but testing and using the mini seeker from Trophy Line, not Trophy Line, from Cruiser, as a saddle hunting platform this season, and worked great for me. Pretty solid in the tree. I had a great system for locking that thing into the tree really good, but as the temperatures got colder, that thing creeped on me
Really?
like mad. If I really made any aggressive moves in the tree, it was going. I was like,
That drives me
I was
nuts.
like, yeah, I can't do.
Yeah,
I can't have it.
yeah.
I can't have it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at other options. I definitely do not have the answer to what that's going to be. I was hoping to see Trophy Line and XOP and some other guys out at the outdoor show, but they're not going to be there.
Could it be as something as simple as the strap material?
I was,
You know what I mean?
I was looking at that, and it didn't seem to be that was what it was. It seemed
Okay.
to be in the mechanism of the where it
Hinges.
hinges were.
Okay. Yeah.
So where the bolts went through. So the plastic in there, I think, was what was creaking on it.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm looking at a different platform once again, and I enjoyed the lean part of that platform. But I think I'm back to the drawing board on that now. Novix, which I have a Novix stand laying right over here that I really like. They just came out with a new one called the Raider. XOP has one that's pretty lightweight, like in the 3 pound range. So not bad. I'm looking at different options, looking for budget options, because some of these ones, like you go to Lone Wolf, they want $400 for a damn saddle hunting platform. It's ridiculous.
And again, we're not professional hunters, everyday bow hunters.
Yeah. So that's crazy. But anyway, so as far as other stuff, I obviously still have to buy a bow.
I'm so envious. I mean, I shouldn't be, because I'm really happy with my bow. My elite, I love it. I shouldn't be, but it's so fun. Like I'm envious because of this, what you are getting ready to go through.
Mm-hmm.
It's painstakingly tedious, but at the same time, it's exciting, it's new, it's fun, and man, when you get to pop that thing's cherry, it's even more
I
exciting.
was really getting excited about the Matthews lift,
Yeah,
but
I know what you're gonna say.
you have to buy a bunch of Matthews components for it, and I want to make sure that I'm not wrong on that, and that you can use other components.
You can get other components, but
It's
to
built
keep
for
it,
those
it's
components.
built for those, like the stabilizer, the stabilizer,
The rest.
your rest with, what is it they call that, dovetail system that they have incorporated into the riser is so cool. I think they're all going to be starting to do that, and I think some of them have. I think even Bowtech has done that now, the dovetail system.
Yeah.
But they're all different. So if you can't put a Matthews setup on a Bowtech, or a Bowtech on a set, you know what I mean?
I just get frustrated that I don't want to be pigeonholed into have to use one set of things. I want to have flexibility in my bow.
I have nothing negative to say about Matthews or any of that, because
I've
my
never
very first bow,
I've never owned one, so I can't say.
my very first bow was Matthews Adrenaline. I had that thing for 13 years. I loved that bow. And then I moved on to the Bowtech, and I loved that bow. And now I have this Elite. And guess what?
The Elite's pretty awesome.
It's a pretty awesome bow. I love that bow. So the way technology has gone at this point, they're all so far ahead of the game. Now I think what it is what you are willing to compromise.
Yeah.
So do you want a speed bow? Well, with that speed bow, that back wall, it's going to be almost non-existent, because it's going to want to be jumping out of your hand. So there's that. Do you want comfort and quiet? That's where kind of you can really dial in a Bowtech. Bowtech, the Core SS. The SS is for super silent. That is an awesome machine,
And
It's just,
after this season, you know as well as I do, anybody that hunts, and you sit there in the quiet and no wind, and you have deer coming in, and you want to draw, and they're close. It's that
nerve-wracking.
little bit of sound can kill you,
Yeah.
and be done. And when I was pulling my bow back here.
the kinks, the cracks.
It was squeaking on me, and I was having to painstakingly draw so slow. And was 65 pounds, so it wasn't terrible, but
you got enough to worry about instead of having to worry about
I'm
that.
focusing on that.
Yeah.
And when I switched and I had to use
My bow,
the Elite, it was so smooth and quiet. I was like, this is what I need.
Yeah. Now, like, again, so like the Podium Archer, I've watched so many of his reviews on the bows. Lift 29, incredible bow. He kind of pushes the Core SS, in my opinion. He seems, well, there for a while he's a lot into the Hoyt thing, but Hoyt, that was an RX8 that's out now. That's a little bit probably out of what you want to spend. Where I think the Core SS and the Elite Ethos would probably be more in your wheelhouse, along with the lift. Don't discredit the Matthews lift. I promise you would not get a bad bow.
I'm gonna shoot him and see.
Yeah,
shoot him and see.
And that's what it all amounts to. And how they feel in your hand right here.
One of the things that I have to get a
draw
balance of, because I'm not a big guy. I have a short draw length.
Yeah.
And because of that shorter draw length, I try to get a faster bow to compensate for.
Yeah.
I can't grab a 315 feet per second bow and have the drop off of that with my draw length. It's going to take me down at under 250 just like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if I shoot 70 pounds and I use a bow that's in the 340 range, 335, 340 range or higher, I'm rock solid.
You're probably looking at, with your draw length and all that, still probably at only like 319, 318, maybe even below, maybe even closer to like 290. But
I was probably only shooting this year. I was probably only shooting like 269.
no, okay. Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. But I don't know. I'm excited for you. I wish I could be part of it with you, but you got to move at your pace and have the opportunities when you do.
I haven't really had a chance to go out there.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
If I did get a hunt in there at the end of the season, I was going to have to use my 10-point crossbow.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any other option.
Right.
The bow's still hanging over here,
broken,
jacked up. So, yeah, that's disappointing to me. But the other thing I wanted to work on. We're gonna, talk about what you're doing this week or this next. What am I saying? Next
Wednesday.
Weekend.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So next Tuesday, my wife drives out to Indianapolis for a massive dog show. I wanted to go with an ulterior motive. Me and Mike had talked about going to Indiana to hunt. So I'm going to fly out Wednesday night and meet up with her once she's out there, and a friend that's out there going to be out there with her. But instead of going to the dog show, I'm going scouting for 2 days in Indiana, about an hour and a half south of Indianapolis, hour and a half, depending on which state forest that's out there that I'm going to go to. I'm really looking forward to this. It's me by myself in the woods doing what we do. And it's 100% hunting, 100% scouting. This is going to be exciting, man. It's
for us
200 some thousand square acres of huntable property, public land, in separate areas, of course. Yeah. But I have to kind of pick and choose what I think.
Yeah, you have to just drive around to think initially and see what you see, and then go from there.
Well,
I
did find a campground, so at that point, it's kind of being able to branch off from that campground. Mm-hmm. But what Indiana does in their state forest, which I think is pretty unique, which I don't think Pennsylvania does, is they put wildlife ponds in these state forests, and they put them in pretty remote areas. So you got to take these trails and get into these wildlife ponds that they maintain. And so where there's no water source, they're giving them a water source, and I think that is really unique and it's really cool. And I have scouted my brains out on X, thank you. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do 2 days of scouting. I'm going to really put some miles on. I'm going to put some work in. And I think next October, me and him are going to head out there with the camper, and we're going to see about getting some successful hunting in. But yeah, so I'll be in Indianapolis that Saturday. I'm actually going to go to the dog show because there is a pointer specialty, and I want to be there to see my wife. My wife's been kicking ass and taking names here lately, so I want to be there to support her and then drive home Sunday, and then once I'm home Sunday, I think that Wednesday is when I'd like to go to the Sportsman Show. Being in Indiana, I will be here for the opening of the Sportsman
The opening
Show.
day is always crazy, but that's when
Yeah.
the people are there that I want to talk to and stuff from the different companies. I've reviewed stuff for Ozio Gear this year, for Sitka, from Huntworth.
Yeah.
And I have some more stuff that I'm preparing to review heading into turkey season here and then early season next year. And I'm this next year I'm going to get a Maryland license or get the Indiana license, of course, and then I hope to not just hunt up at our camp, but also hunt with Andy again.
Yeah.
And continue that tradition of hunting.
Yeah.
With Andy. So we had such a great time doing that.
And I think this year the hunt tour might be in Indiana. Meaning
Oh, Andy, come with us.
he has the ability to make the roof of his Bronco a tent. So he was like, if there's not enough room in the camper, I'll stay up
Oh,
there.
I'd love to have Andy.
Yeah,
That'd
absolutely.
Be great. That'd
So-
be fantastic.
So I have a logic.
Or the better.
Absolutely. And he's good company. Yeah. So I have a little bit of a logic thought
But he
process.
tends to drink your beer.
He does drink my beer. And I'm okay with that. That's what friends are for. I'm actually drinking your beer right now. So but you're my brother. So my logic thinking with the Sportsman Show is later in the week that you go, the deals become even bigger deals because they don't want to have to drive back home with this gear.
They don't want to take the stuff in.
So they got to load it all back up and then drive it all the way back to wherever they're coming from, Nevada or here or there. So sometimes I've found later in the week, I've gotten some really good deals. Like that scent eliminator bag that I got. Yeah. I think I got that thing for $20. It's a $110 bag. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's
you can't beat those deals. It's the ones that go there and don't give you a deal.
Yeah.
That just frustrates me. It's like,
yeah,
come on, man. I can get a better deal on your website. I ran into that last year. There's a couple different stands I went to, and I was like, I can get a better deal on your website right now. Why are you not giving them better prices here at the show? Anyway, that's another story. But so looking at that and looking at getting all set up here, I'm kind of excited because I got this stuff from a company called Duck Camp.
Okay.
Right. And they gave me some stuff to try out, and they really are big on they think it's great for turkey hunting. Their camo. Yeah. Their camo is very unique. They have like a woodland camo, but it's very neat. They say it works for ducks. So if it works for ducks,
yeah,
it's pretty good stuff. But anyway, I want to test that out. I have my blind over here. I want to work on some ground setups, and that's just talking about off-season obsession. Is now I keep thinking about how much I want to kill something off the ground, and I think I'm going to end up buying one of those. What is it called? Millennium.
Yeah.
Millennium tree seats.
That's when after my Summit stump seat dies. That's the direction I will be going. Absolutely.
It's like $100.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait a little bit here and try to pull one of them in and test it out. And I think that I have a spot that's just the trees around there is so difficult.
Yeah.
That the only real option is to hunt off the ground, and there's some really thick stuff to get into, and I think the thick stuff coupled with my little, portable blind setup, I don't know what to call it, easy blind from Cabela's, set that up, set behind there, and sit on that Millennium seat and hope for the best.
So, speaking of spring gobbler, for Christmas, my nephew asked for a turkey call. So, me, full-blown obsession, I got him the hoot owl call for location, to locate where the gobblers are. Mm-hmm. I got him a box call, and I got him a slate call. So the box call is more for the beginner. It's easier. Mm-hmm. But the slate call is something to really grow into. Mm-hmm. Brady, I love you, buddy. Please practice, and you're going to be successful. There we go.
I'm sorry to tell you, Brady, if you're watching this, don't listen to Dan. It's only going to hurt you.
Brady, I am so excited for you, buddy. You are starting a hunting career. It's a lifetime of lessons. It's a lifetime of great experiences with your dad, hopefully me, Pop. You know, it's you're getting ready to have some fun.
I'm glad you said that because one thing that Tyler's, my oldest son, Tyler, his buddy Teal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Him and his girlfriend, they were living in Arizona, and now they've moved back here to Pennsylvania, and they're right down the road here from me, not too far. And he's asked me to. He has a bow, and he's been shooting and stuff, but he feels like he needs some hands-on help. So I'm going to assist him and take him out hunting this fall, and maybe even bring him up to camp.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And take him out and give him a taste of it. And I have the equipment to set him up and get him at least out in the tree stand.
He's gonna fall in love. And he's gonna have off-season obsessions. He's gonna have.
Well, I try to put him in the best possible position. He'll end up getting a deer, and I won't. That's how it works.
Hey, you know what? Great, because I feel like this: when a beginner gets that first deer, that's when it begins. That's it. There's nothing like it. Like I enjoyed turkey hunting way more than I liked deer hunting. A lot of that is, yeah, you know, I was successful and it drove me more. And at that point in my hunting career, I was not successful in deer. With a rifle, yeah, but not archery. And then once I got one with a bow, the floodgates opened, and I can't, there's days where I can't even function. It's all I think about. I eat, sleep, and drink archery hunting now. It's
The only thing that ticks me off is that you can't do it all year long.
yeah. I mean, you can kind of if you get to be able to travel and all of that stuff, you know, to go get pigs or hogs, whatever, you know, stuff like that. But unfortunately, my traveling is to go to dog shows. And, you know, hey, we get to go to Indiana this year. That's pretty cool.
They said they killed some pigs down in Bedford County.
Really?
My boss was telling me at work that
They're moving in.
that they ended up seeing 12 in a field, and they went out and
Wiped them out.
they shot them all.
Good. Yeah.
So
We don't really want the nuisance. I want the hunting opportunity, but at
They
the
will-
same time,
they will destroy.
they are so destructive property. You know,
very
you don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah. The the thing is that it might be fun to hunt, but when they push in here, it would just be terrible for the state.
And we're such an ag state that it would be bad for our, you know, for our farmers and everything. Yeah.
But yeah. So I hope to get Teal out, get him into hunting a little
Awesome.
bit.
Humble, that's
I
exciting.
think that would be such a great thing, you know, learn to shoot. And he said, "Hey, I'll be your guinea pig. You can take videos of me and stuff, you know, showing people how to do it a little bit." And so I'm excited about doing that. I think that'd be pretty fun.
And the little bit that I know him, he's a hell of a nice guy. So,
Teal is a hell of a nice guy. So I like that. You know, one of the things that, you know, I think if you're just getting into it, it's the hardest thing, I think. When I was starting, I didn't really hunt archery until I got out. Not really. I didn't hunt archery until I got out of the Army.
right.
So I got out of the Army and I started hunting it. And I had no idea. And it wasn't until I decided a few years back and I started doing things like the mock scrapes.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to learn more about the deer. I wanted to put myself into this sport a lot more. Once I did that, my mindset just changed so much.
Yeah.
And I think I've become such a better hunter because of that. It's because once you open your eyes to, it's not walking out in the woods, climbing a tree or sitting on the ground, whatever, and waiting for a deer to come by. It's all the pieces and parts that go into it.
There is some luck involved.
Yes, there is some luck involved.
Yeah.
But scouting is such a huge part of it. But and then you say scouting, some people say, "Well, what do you mean by scouting?" You know, there's so much that it's hard to teach. You have to see, you know, and walk out in the woods and say, "Okay."
It all comes together.
And you
Yeah.
also get, as you learn, you get a feeling. You know what I mean? I get feelings all the time. I go out and I've been right a lot on where deer are and stuff. I remember we did that hike. I climbed to the top and I said, "Huh, I'm gonna put a camera in here."
And
And then all of a sudden, bam, I'm seeing all kinds of bucks there. So it's just, it's just having that, and it doesn't happen overnight. But
scouting and e-scouting are two in the same, but they're so different.
Yeah.
Okay, so finding your transitions, and you could say, well, what do you mean? Like on a map, you can actually see where the woods change, but until you physically go there and see it and feel it and understand it, and see the trails running, that's when it all kind of starts coming together and clicking.
Yeah.
Oh, and you'll start putting two and two together, and
Yeah.
it makes more sense,
yeah, I mean, one thing you talk about transitions lines, it's basically where the habitat breaks.
Yes.
It can be a bench on a ridge line where you have a break. It be really thick stuff, and it breaks into open hardwoods.
Yes, yes.
It's little things like that. It could be a stream that breaks and it's different on the other side of the stream. It's all those little things. And generally what I do is I'll go to where I see a transition and I'll look on, I'll walk 20 to 30 yards on each side of it. And 99 times out of 100, you're going to find a trail.
Yeah.
At least a trail that's going to get you moving in the right direction. Doesn't mean it's going to be a hot trail to use every day or anything like that.
I mean,
But at least get you in the game.
it's a lot. Like it could just be as simple as over here. It's a lot of maples and spruces mixed in, and then it starts your hickories and white oaks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tree population has everything to do with what their
Food-
feed
the
patterns
food-
are going
yeah,
to.
the
The
food-
acorn drop.
Food drives everything.
Yes, yeah.
Food drives everything.
Yep.
So,
But
but
in conjunction with water,
yeah,
So
yeah, it's knowing those little things and getting the feel out there and saying, okay,
yeah.
there.
I used to just walk around out there and not know what the hell I was even looking at. And then, years of you spend enough time in the woods, it all kind of comes together because you start seeing patterns of deer and understand, well, why are they always coming from that way? And why is it always this time of the day? Things like that.
One of the first
start
things
happening.
we started doing a long time ago, not that long ago, it was a couple of years, we really started investing ourselves in what we call slides.
Yeah, that it was
And-
huge for us.
And that puts you on deer really quick. It might be doe, but if you're hunting buck in the rut,
Yeah.
if you know where the doe are, the buck will be there. So we end up finding those rut funnels in places like that.
And
But
if you want to understand slides, you could probably reference what was it, the second or third episode. We did a little thing on the slides where I actually showed, and you put that in there,
Yeah.
what the slide is and what
yeah,
you're looking at.
it's just literally, where you have high ground coming down to a road, it shows where they are either going up
Or down.
or coming down, and you see the tracks in there. And it's great to go out after a rain or
Yeah.
snow. Right now, this time of year is the best
Ultimate time to scout.
to scout.
Yeah.
As you're never going to find deer beds easier than you're going to find them now.
It is, but it ain't.
Yes.
So if the ground's frozen, you're not going to see anything that you want to see because you're not going to see,
Yeah.
But if you have snow, you're going to see. So
I wish I
it's
could be out there right now with the snow on the ground.
And I'll tell you, back to the spring gobbler. Spring gobbler is an excellent time to be scouting while hunting.
Yeah, it's
So-
not getting quite thick yet. It's that whole thing when there's not all the foliage, out there, and you can walk through areas that are going to be really, really thick, and those places that are really thick where nobody wants to hunt. You usually find deer there.
Yeah.
So, so what else you got?
That's all I have. Pretty much just wanted to talk about Indiana. I wanted to talk about my off-season obsession and give a shout out to Jevin and his family. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got. What about you?
No, that's pretty much it, guys. So that's it. Episode 15's in the books.
Yes, sir.
And we promise we're not going to take such a big break.
Yeah, get back on track. I feel like a broken record. We've said this a lot for the last couple episodes that we're going to get back on track, but we needed an off season to ourselves and
Yeah.
archery season. Me and him spent a lot of time away from our families, and we kind of needed a break. And we enjoyed the holidays, and now it's time to get back on track. But back
Again,
on this,
we're not professional hunters.
yeah, we're just guys that love hunting, just like anybody that's watching this. But hey, thank you everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe, send in some questions. we'd like to get back on track with some listener questions and get some answers for you guys. Thank you.
Yep. We'll see you next time.